How's it going, everyone? Thanks for tuning in today. We're going to be talking about a guy who Sports Card Nation podcast recently labeled one of the most polarizing people in the hobby, and that is sports card investor Geoff Wilson. Get something out front here. This is not meant to be an attack piece. I know a lot of times when people speak up about sports card investor, they're immediately labeled as negative or causing drama or a hater. That is not the intention of this video. I simply want to answer the question, has Geoff Wilson actually made money on cards? So that's what we're going to be digging into today. So whether you like sports card investor or the content, you've probably heard about him, you've probably seen videos of him, you've probably seen photos of him. He recently had a card made of him by Topps. The guy is everywhere. So whether or not you actually want to watch his content or listen to him, inevitably you're probably going to run across him somewhere. And getting back to the whole negative content thing, this is not a personal attack on him. I'm simply making this video to address the whole concept of investing in cards, which personally I don't believe in. I don't believe that you can legitimately invest in cards. If you look at the definition of investing, it talks about a long-term strategy, and I don't believe that that's what people like Geoff Wilson have been doing these past couple years. It's more speculating, it's more short-term. So I think the word itself is a little bit deceiving, but that is another topic in and of itself. And I would suggest going back to a couple videos that I created called Collecting Cards After the Boom, where I talk about that specifically. I talk about looking at cards as an investment and what that word actually means and the reason behind why I don't think cards are an investment. So if you're interested in that, go check out those videos. I will link them in the description. So now we're going to jump over to my sports card investor, Geoff Wilson, investment tracker document. I'm tracking 65 purchases total here. So they're actually not all cards. Most of them are, but you're going to see some cases that he's bought, some boxes of cards that he's bought. First of all, huge shout out to South Park Cards on Instagram. He started tracking this data, and I actually just picked up kind of where he left off and added some additional details. But a lot of the 2020 and 2021 data came from him, so huge shout out to him again. So essentially, I went through sports card investor videos. I did not watch every single one, so this is not a all-encompassing list of everything that he's bought. It also doesn't go over what he's sold. So I want to make that clear. This is simply me looking at videos, and every time I saw one where I invested X amount of dollars into the sports card market, I'm at the show and $40,000, $50,000, whatever it is in play. All these videos that he comes out with where he's showing you the car that he bought and what he paid for it, which he seems to really like to do. We're going to look at the first card here, and we're just going to go through the columns. So you can see here, row number 2, we're looking at the 2013 Panini Prism, which is a Prism Silver of Giannis. It is a PSA 10. That is going to be column A. Column B, the PSA or BGS cert number. If I could determine that, if I could see it in the video, most of the time I could, so you're going to see that in there. And then you're going to see the date of purchase. So that date of purchase might not be exact. A lot of times I just based it off of when the video came out where he showed the card. But we can actually sometimes determine that via PSA's website. I'll show you that here in a second. Column D, I put the initial cost. This is either the cost that he gives us in his video or one that I found on the PSA website. Column E here is going to be the purchase source. I suggest that you actually take a look at this and expand that column, because for a lot of these cards, I not only show you the video that I found it, I also show you the purchase source via the PSA website, or maybe it's an eBay auction that I found, or another source of data. That's where it's going to be. In column G, you'll see the recent sales price. And now guys, this is not going to be real time. I'm giving you in column H the date of that sale that I found. And then you can go back to column F and you can see where I came up with that recent sale. A lot of times it's going to be over at PSA because they're tracking a lot of these auctions and eBay sales for PSA graded cards. You also see some notes here. So a lot of these I wasn't able to find a recent sale. So I'm not going to count those in, but maybe sometime in the future we can find a recent sale. We can add that in. So now we're going to answer the question that I'm sure is the reason that most people clicked on this video is, has he made money on these purchases? So we're going to go over to column D here, and we're going to scroll on to the bottom to my totals. And this is going to show you out of the 65 purchases that we're looking at here, That's the total amount spent, $2,380,984. Then we'll go over to the top. We'll scroll over to the profit and loss column, scroll down, and as of right now, these 65 purchases total out to be a loss of a little over $1 million. $1,030,599 to be exact. Do you think that he is a good card investor, as he claims to be? Do you think that cards are actually a good investment? Is this just an outlier list? Let me know down in the comments. I'd be interested to hear what you think. A lot of the stuff that he was buying during the pandemic, myself and others were trying to warn people about. We saw these exponential price increases on some of these cards that are honestly quite common. Hey, you might want to consider not buying these cards at these crazy inflated prices. We were a very tiny voice at that point because lots of people were making money on cards hand over fist. This is the biggest monetary boom that the sports card market has ever seen. And I'm not saying that I'm by any means a card expert or anything like that, but I've been around long enough to see these kind of ebbs and flows, and I was trying to warn people about it. I know others are trying to warn people about it. And now we end up where we are today. We're seeing that a lot of these cards really weren't worth what people were paying for. We were firmly in a speculative bubble. So I do truly hope that this sheds some light on the whole concept that Geoff and others were pushing during the pandemic. Whether or not they were doing it maliciously, I can't say. I'd probably lean towards they just didn't really know what they were doing. But at the same time, we see the effects of it now. I wanted to present this data to you because one of the guys that was pushing that narrative hard was, of course, Geoff Wilson. And I wanted to give you an idea of where those cards are at now. And if you made it to the end of the video, I want to thank you for watching. Please consider clicking the like button. Please consider subscribing to my channel. I would definitely encourage you to watch my collecting cards after the boom. Not only do I talk about what happened during the boom, I also try to offer some suggestions on how us as card collectors can approach the hobby nowadays, with sales dropping for a lot of the high-end stuff, but I also see a lot of good things happening. A lot of cards are still retaining value. It's fun to be a collector nowadays. I do go into that in that series as well. And links to everything, including this document itself, can be found in the description. Please comment down below, tell me what you think. If anything needs to be added, I'm definitely open to it, and I will catch you on the next one.